Hello and welcome everyone to another patch note review on this channel. Today with the big update that came out yesterday that included the Clan of the Ox. This is of course the new big thing in this update that we're also gonna talk about mainly in this video, but there are also other small changes that are quite important in Northgard that we're gonna talk about. So let's not talk around for all too long right here and rather jump straight into the patch notes to see what is new and what has changed. So here we are right in the patch notes. We can already see the logo of the new Ox clan right here with a pretty cool graphic. I like it quite a bit. And yeah, let's just jump straight in. Hey everybody, it's time to reveal the latest clan to grace of the lands of Northgard. Please welcome the Clan of the Ox. Yeah, welcome, welcome. It is a pretty cool clan, in my opinion. I had quite a bit of fun with it. Quite a few mechanics that wouldn't be like that on the other clans. So pretty new playstyle right there, what I enjoyed quite a bit. But we're just gonna jump in right now and you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Jump right into the spotlight. Description. Led by Thorfinn, an ancient leader who returned to help his progeny. It is known for its tremendous might and unrelenting devotion to its ancestors. While they may not be the fastest starters, once they gain some momentum, they can crush anyone and anything in their way. And I think this is a pretty good explanation of the clan right now, especially with the war chief being as strong as it is right now. In my yesterday's stream I definitely learned how powerful the Ox clan can actually get in the late game and how hard the clan can actually be to stop if you don't exactly know how it works. But yeah, let's jump in a little bit deeper so we all get an understanding of that. The starting bonuses is that your war chief is the powerful Thorfinn. He can find ancestral equipment from ancient battlegrounds and equip them to become even stronger. The units are tougher, larger and eat 10% more than other clans. They have 15% attack power and defense bonus. Specialized civilians will have a plus 40% base production bonus except lore masters. I'm not 100% sure if it's 40 or 30 because I think in game it said 30 and that would be a little bit more fitting because the 40% is already fairly strong, but I'm not exactly sure which number it is right now. I would settle down on the 30 to be honest. And except lore masters, so your lore masters won't be producing that much more than the other ones because you can basically have just as many lore masters as other clans do. Your other buildings, however, can only hold one unit, and houses hold less people. To be very exact, they will hold 4 people instead of 5. A little bit more information about Thorfinn right here. Thorfinn will cost you 250 gold and 15 iron, in comparison to 150 gold and 5 iron of a normal chief. Therefore, he will have 100 HP. I think the attack and resistance is basically normal, like with the other war chiefs, so it is especially stronger or more resistant. It just has more HP, and you can make it even stronger by finding the ancestral equipment around the map. There are different armor parts that are around. They're also explained here a little bit lower. So yeah, gonna wait until we see that. But in general, you can keep in mind that it is generally worth to pay a little bit more for the war chief because you will do a lot of things with them and a lot of lores are also resembling around your war chief. So it's definitely worth to pay a little bit more for him. Your units in general, of course, your villagers will be a little bit stronger. The thing that you only can put one villager into your building will definitely change up your playstyle quite a bit because you can, of course, not have 2 woodcutters in one lodge anymore. So we will definitely be led to have more woodcutters lodges than usually, especially me because I really like to build a lot of buildings. So players like me will oftentimes end up to build 3 woodcutters lodges with the Clan of the Ox. Or sometimes even end up with the 4th one, how it happened to me one time on my yesterday's stream too. If you upgrade a building, however, you will be able to put 1 additional villager into the building, of course, like you would be with the other clan. Your units will both get the plus 30% base production bonus, what will end up making this building pretty efficient and even a little bit more efficient than from the other clans, even though you're gonna have to pay taxes for this building, and usually you will need more buildings than usually, so you will need to pay a few more taxes. However, the Ox clan definitely has a lore to help out with this, but we're also gonna get in that a little bit later and now jump right into the fame bonuses right here for the Ox clan. The 200 fame bonus is called the military pressure bonus. This bonus will give your units a production bonus depending on the number of military units you control. To be exact there, I think you get a 2% production bonus for every military unit that is on your territory. It doesn't seem that much, but with the War Chief and the ancient battlegrounds that you want to reach usually to get the new armor parts for your War Chief, you want to be around the map and really clear out stuff to clear your path basically to those battlegrounds. So having a little bit of army and your War Chief around might be something that you really want to do with the Ox clan, and therefore also get a small bonus on top of that. So I wouldn't really see it as a bonus that drives the game for itself, but rather is beneficial to your playstyle that you would want to do somewhat if you would want to get a lot of armor parts for your War Chief, even though that is of course hurting your eco somewhat. But I still like the fame bonus, and I think it can be useful in certain situations. On the 500 fame bonus you will get a true hero. Therefore Thorfinn can use provocation. The ability is basically described as a taunt, like if you played other games you might know what I mean with that. All enemy units and towers target Thorfinn and during a short period, and his resistance is doubled for 10 seconds. What is also important, you will not be able to move him while he's doing that. I don't think it's going for the full 10 seconds, or you can move him while the 10 seconds, because I usually move him out when he gets really low so he doesn't die, because, you know, 250 gold and 15 iron, you would really not want to lose your War Chief there with the Ox clan, because it could definitely end the game there for you. But with the provocation you can make really good use also of the other lores of the Ox clan. However, you cannot use it with Warcry in the same tile. So they will share a small cooldown, and it's not the exact same cooldown. So I'm already able to use provocation, go a few tiles back, and then there use my Warcry. But you cannot in the very same fight use both of the effects, because of course that would also be a little bit overpowered, and the provocation effect is already interesting and strong for itself enough, I can definitely guarantee. Thorfinn, an imposing and predictable figure, with unmatched strength and an arsenal of ancestral equipment that served only to enhance his already devastating array of attacks. Thorfinn was considered by those who had not had the misfortune of crossing his path in battle to be an embodiment of tall tales and heresy. There we go. Now, having led the Ox clan to becoming one of the most feared and respected in all of Northgard, there are few who question his legitimacy, and he lies dormant, awaiting the day of his people call upon him and his immense power once more. Nice, that's a nice text about him, I like it. And also, yeah, sums up Thorfinn in general quite a bit, I like it. Even in death, Thorfinn continues watching you upon his throne from his stone statue. Oh my god. Oh no, oh no. I'm gonna be watched by him when I lose him. It shows everyone in the past, the future and glory of your clan, represented by the clan Ox's most amazing and powerful War Chief in its history. Thorfinn isn't recruited like a usual War Chief, like a god avatar. You can summon him from his throne. His cost is as huge as his might, 15 iron and 250 gold like we said before, but this price is definitely worth it, even though it can really hurt your game when you lose him, so you should really watch out to not lose him. With the War Chief equipment collection. With centuries of battle behind him, Thorfinn is able to recall where he can obtain and equip the very same ancestral equipment that brought him and the clan of the Ox so many battlefield victories and in eons past, and in order to considerably increase all of his abilities and heighten his already devastating array of attacks. Yeah. So there we are with the ancient battlegrounds. We can see it here in a little graphic, I think. We just saw Thorfinn in front of an ancient battleground. I would really like to show you one of those. There we go. This is an ancient battleground. Those will appear in the middle of your map, and then you can basically right-click Thorfinn to it. He will take around a minute. I'm not 100% sure if it's actually a minute. Maybe it's also just 30 seconds, but I guess it's around a minute. He's looking there, and then you will find the next armor part. After being summoned, Thorfinn remembers the ancient gigantic battles and where to find some useful equipment. Depending on your military experience, those ancient battlegrounds can appear everywhere in Northgard. Thorfinn can excavate buried ancestral equipment from there and equip them. So you're basically on a luck basis which of the parts you will get, because there are a few that are better for defending your territory and there are a few parts that are better for bringing the aggression to your opponent basically. But we can see the different parts right here and can talk about them a little bit deeper. There are 6 unique items of ancestral equipment dedicated to Thorfinn, who is able to wear only 1 equipment of each type. So you have to choose your equipment wisely before charging your enemies. So if you found 2 parts of an armor, you can basically click the one that you want to use, but you need to do this before you fight. You cannot change those mid-fight, of course. You can change Thorfinn's equipment at any time whilst in your territory, if not battling. So, yeah, of course. We have here Tyr's ancestral equipment, what should be considered the more defensive one, right? We have Tyr's chain pauldron that increases your resistance by 10% and your health by even 25 more. That will give you 125 health. That is even more than a Jotnar, so should be pretty neat to have that. And we have Tyr's combat gloves that increases your attack damage by 10% and reduces the projectile damage taken by 20%. Will make them way more resistance to axe throwers then, of course. Then we have the Tyr's charge leggings, what will add 20% chance to evade attacks and gives you a 20% movement speed bonus in allied territory. So you will move way quicker in your teammates' territory, but if you go into opposing territories or neutral territories, you will walk just as fast as usual. So with this part, you will not be able to outrun Signy in opposing territory. If you're in your own territory, I think you will be able to even outrun Signy with this part, what is pretty neat. Now we go to Heimdall's ancestral equipment, what should be the more aggressive one and will oftentimes be considered as the better one for the most players, even though both of these sets definitely have their pros and cons. Here we have Heimdall's hunting pauldron, increases your resistance by 10% and reflects 20% of the received damage. And reflect, you gotta see, this is not evade, you're not gonna dodge it, you're really gonna reflect it back to the enemy, what is pretty strong. Here we have Heimdall's sparring gloves, increases your attack damage by 10% and increases the attack speed by 10%. We can see here, reduces projectile damage by 20%, basically against increases attack speed by 10%, and here can you already see why this is considered the more aggressive one, right? Let's go to Heimdall's Traveler Leggings. Unlocks the Stomp passive ability that you might know from Giants and other, pretty big fellas in Northgard. He will basically stomp on the ground and do an AoE effect to that gives AoE damage to all enemies around him. You will not hurt friendly units. I'm pretty sure. I didn't test it, but I don't think that you will hit friendly units. You will basically just hit the other ones. Also, it will increase your movement speed by 20% in neutral or enemy territory, and that will make him pretty damn fast. I didn't really make a race against Signy yet, but just from numbers, you should be actually able to outrun Signy. I'm not 100% sure though, she still might be a little bit quicker than him. But with this part, you will definitely be a really quick war chief, and that will make you pretty flexible in the late game where you want to attack, because your war chief can definitely pressure on other sides, even though you don't really want to have him alone running around. But you can basically outrun other people right there, even though I don't think that you will be able to outrun warriors that are charging at you. So really keep that in mind if you don't want to lose your war chief, of course, because charging warriors will still be able to hunt you down and kill your war chief. So watch out for that. But you can get your war chief even stronger if you want so, with the Relic of the Ox clan, that is called Aegir. It's a terrifying helm. It is said that Thorfinn stole from the gods themselves with only his pure strength. Forging it back grants Thorfinn the ability to ram buildings. Target the building and Thorfinn will ram it and destroy it in one headbutt. It's actually a headbutt. It's nice. A few buildings are immune to this attack: non-clan buildings, carved stone, and the town hall. So that means, yes, you can ram an altar down, what can be very, very frightening in the late game. We can see him here destroying a tower there, what could also be important, but you have a 1-year cooldown on this effect, so basically 12 minutes after you use it, you cannot use it again. But therefore, if you can ram down an altar, it will definitely be worth. If you cannot really make it happen, it can get hard, and what I always say is that you also get the price a little bit higher when you lose your war chief, because if you put the relic also in, like the time for the relic, all the time you use to find the armor parts for your war chief and the money you put in your war chief, if you then lose the war chief, you will really have big problems if you cannot get him down quickly, get him back quickly, because buying the iron will basically, like if you need to buy the iron, the war chief will cost you 1000 gold. This is quite a bit. Like, compare that to the 400 gold you would theoretically play for another war chief, like for a default war chief. It is a pretty high price, but you get a lot with this war chief, so I guess it might be worth to going for those things that if you really watch out to not lose the war chief, you don't really have to frighten all too much, while it can be easier said than done in some situations. Now we jump in another very important topic right here, that is the lore tree of the Ox clan, with one of the most important lores here at the top, that is the city builder lore. In improved zones, specialized units get a 15% production bonus, and buildings don't have an upkeep cost, what is super good. Like, not only the production bonus that can already help you out quite a bit in certain situations, but that you don't have an upkeep cost can really help you out with this clan, because like I said before, you will oftentimes be torn to build a few more buildings than you would usually build with other clans, because you can have less villagers working in them. So this lore basically works directly against it, and if you then try to improve the zones, you will not only have no upkeep cost on those zones, and later on need a way smaller gold economy than you would need with other clans, because you're basically not throwing gold all the time away for your tax. But you also get the 15% production bonus, what might help you out quite a bit in the early times of the game right there. And of course, even in the later stages of the game, this lore will help you out quite a bit to keep up your gold stock and not work so much against the tax. And you don't really feel too punished for having more buildings built to have more villagers working in there. So really keep this lore in mind, and I think it's really worth to go for as the first lore in the game. The next lore will be military training. What is a tier 2 lore on the military tree? Just to, for completion, city builder is a tier 3 lore on the upper tree. So just so you know that, military training is the second one on the military tree. So already a pretty strong lore for a tier 2 lore. Your idle military units in your territory gain military experience. This is not actually that much, but I had a situation yesterday where I just needed a little bit more military experience. Already had my army running around the map, and in the end got my 10 or 20 needed military experience to get my veteran fighters through idle military in my territory. So it can help out in certain situations, while it's not a very sustainable way to gain military experience. You will still be way better off to clear out the map or go for fights. But yeah, if you have like small thresholds that you want to hit, that maybe helps you out quite a bit right there. Also, you will only pay 50% for upgrading training camps. What is of course the main part of this lore, because in the end it will also help you out to work together with feeling safe, so you can upgrade quite a few of camps around your area and get a good happiness bonus out of that. What can be pretty important, because none of the lores that is special for the Ox clan will give you any happiness bonuses. So if you want happiness bonuses, how you would most likely want if you don't want to build a brewery, this is really the way to go. Go for the 50% training camp and upgrade cost. Of course, try to not pay upkeep for them, and try to go for the military. Go for the feeling safe lore to get your happiness out of there. You will also get free happiness for having your chief out, what is, as the Ox clan, usually the default. Like, you will have your chief out for all the time. The next lore in that tree will be a tier 3 lore, is the Ferocious Charge. It will give your weapons upgrades a 50% discount. Plus you will forge them 50% faster, what is pretty important, since as Ox Clan you can only send one villager in every building. That also means you have only one smith in your forge. So all your upgrades will be kinda slow there. So the 50% really make a difference, and the 50% less cost will oftentimes also lead you into upgrading multiple units, what can be pretty important in duels and free-for-alls in my opinion. So you can mix up your playstyle a little bit and are not that predictable, you know. I think it's pretty cool and helps out quite a bit. The most important thing about this lore is actually also, I don't know if it's the most important thing, but it is very important. Your warriors gain a 50% damage bonus after charging. This is just an old number. I definitely know that it's 50%. Yeah, just a little mistake right here, not too bad. It's a little typo, I guess. You will also have a 10-second cooldown on that. So after you did your 50% extra damage, your warrior will definitely basically have a 10-second cooldown before this effect can trigger again. So you cannot basically just run out, press the X button and just try to charge right back again in. After 10 seconds, you might want to try this because you want to trigger the effect again if you have like a really long fight going on, but I don't think it's really worth trying to avoid the fight after your first push, so you get the 50% bonus damage, then you run away. I don't think it's really that worth. There might be situations where it can really help you out, but I don't think it will be the standard fight for the Orcs, that you will rather take the bonus attack for the first push and then keep on fighting and try to work with your War Chief's effect. For example, the Unstoppable, or this really a strong lore for the Ox Clan. It is a tier 4 lore, so somewhat hard to get for the Ox Clan, but you usually don't have too much problems to get it later on where you will really need it. But the strength of it really legitimizes going for that lore. Let's just go over it. You will get 5% attack power and resistance for each discovered ancestral equipment. So this is that will maybe lead you in getting more ancestral equipment, even though you already have the parts that you might already want because you were kind of lucky or something. You might still want to go for the extra ones just to get a little bit more military attack power and resistance. Can be pretty helpful in the later stages of the game, where you mostly also will be looking for the late game ancestral equipments, because they're actually not that easy to get later on when they spawn on enemy territories or something like that. The second effect, what might be the more important effect for the War Chief, is whenever a unit dies in the same unit as Thorfinn, his health regenerates by 10% of the dead unit's max health. And you can already imagine how hard that will actually be to kill the War Chief right there, because if you run into a tile, you trigger your taunt right away, all the other units will start attacking your War Chief. And you can send your units out to basically kill out the units of the other players. So let's say you have like 20 warriors against your 20 warriors and War Chief. The 20 warriors of your opponent will start attacking your War Chief because you trigger the effect right away. And your warriors will start killing the warriors of the other player. And with every death, your War Chief will heal again. And if the snowball is working out good for you, you will not really lose a lot of army and your War Chief will not fall. If you're unlucky, however, and the enemy is able to get enough damage in on your War Chief early enough, you might lose the fight pretty hard right there. I think this lore might be the one that might be changed throughout it in the next time, because this heal is actually pretty rough. I played the clan before in the beta. I didn't saw this lore being that strong right now, but especially in my yesterday's stream where we played a little bit through it, it really seems to be unstoppable, like the name for it. The best way is of course like to have the taunt going on, and after the taunt you try to micro your units onto the units of the Ox Clan. That should usually, the numbers should be a little bit lower for the Ox Clan than for other clans. But it's still pretty hard to fight, and I don't know if there's a direct antidote for it. Maybe you can work with the Warcry right there, even though it's pretty hard to get the Warcry around there. So this lore I guess the most discussable right there, but it's also one of the strongest ones that is available to the Ox clan, and maybe it would already be yeah, a lot better if this would only be 5% or something, so the War Chief doesn't heal that hard, even though it will be quite hard to keep the War Chief alive right then, but I think this is only right with having a War Chief that is that strong. The last lore will be Warcraft. That is a tier 3 lore in the trading tree, so in the lowest tree where trading is not in anymore, so I don't know how to call the tree now. But it is the tier 3 lore in the lowest tree right there. You will gain through military experience, you will get lore and fame. This amount is always different for everything you kill. Maybe I go a little bit deeper in it in another video, but basically just keep in mind you will get lore and fame for every kill. It will not be insanely much, so I don't think it's really worth to rush the Warcraft and try to get your whole lore out of killing neutrals or attacking your opponents. It will be pretty rough, but you will get an amount of lore and fame for every kill. So in late game situations you might even be torn to just take this lore, and when you really have those shredder fights where you lose a lot of units, you might get a good amount of lore and fame out of it. I don't really see it working out in the early game too much, but you also got to keep in mind that if it would be working out in the early game really good, in the late game fights, if you would go for that, then you would get an insane amount of lore and fame. So to keep it a little bit balanced, I guess they need to keep it a little bit lower so you don't really like explode in lore in the early game through this lore. But I think it's pretty nice though. You can definitely go for it in the late game and try to get a little bit of lore. I don't know if you will be able to lock down a lore win with it though. Would be nice to see. I would really like to see a player ending a game basically with winning on lore on Warcraft. That would be pretty nice to see. Yeah, would be nice. Let's jump into the Conquest right here though. The Conquest Ox bonuses. By challenging the Ox Conquest, the Clan of the Ox gets specific Conquest only bonuses. So the first one will be destroying your buildings or enemy ones, thus using ram earns you back their building costs. So ramming down an altar will of course be super yummy. I'm not too sure how much of the AI opponents actually build altars, but there are also other buildings that you would really like to ram down there, of course. That's pretty cool. On the 6th battle you will get 25 extra life on all your units, what will be pretty crazy. I can only imagine how strong veteran fighters get then in the late game when you then have, I think 65? No, you have 60 HP, so you have 85 HP on a veteran fighter then late game. Maybe I'm a little wrong right there, but I think it's 85. That is pretty devastating. Like, this is more life than War Chiefs have. So it's not actually more than that. It is more than War Chiefs have. That is pretty crazy, man. Would be fun to play. I'm definitely gonna jump in there and see how that plays out. And in the 11th battle, Thorfinn can summon his own shadow to follow him everywhere. Okay. I can't really imagine what that will look like. You can see it right here. I'm not sure if the shadow also will do damage. So I obviously didn't really play through it yet, but it looks like it. It's pretty nice. Will be neat to play. And yeah, also quite interested to try that out there. Conquest map and special town hall. The Ox clan has its own conquest map. I always liked that, by the way. Like, I don't know if I talked too much about that when the conquest update came out, because I didn't realize it that much. But I really like how much work they put into the screens of the clans to resemble the clans a little bit. And yeah, we have another conquest map right here, resembling the Ox clan with a lot of redstone and something. I really like it. I like the overview, and like if you scroll through it, you oftentimes like have like little particle effect. I really like it. I don't know. No, it's just like a graphical thing, but I don't know. It's pretty cool. Right here we can see the Ox clan town hall for the conquest. Easily. I don't know if super easily, but one of my favorite town halls. I think this town hall really resembles, yeah, an Ox Clan Town Hall. That would how I would have imagined an Ox Clan Town Hall to look like, and I really like the looks of it, and will be trying to get it as soon as possible to also be shown in multiplayer games, man. It would be pretty nice. Yeah, right here we have the trailer. In case you didn't have seen that, you can jump onto YouTube, just go for the Clan of the X Northgard trailer. You might be seeing it then pretty soon. Let's jump into the general changes, because like I said, the Ox Clan is not the only thing that got implemented right here. There were also a few little changes, not the biggest ones to be honest, not too much balance changes in this one. But there were a few things that were definitely needed that we're also gonna jump into now. At first, we're gonna have a quick look at the achievements that you can get. The Unstoppable Force when you win with the Clan of the Ox Master, when you get 50 wins of course. Ox Conqueror, so when you finish the Conquest you will get that. I Need More RAM is the one when you build the Relic. Destruction Derby, it's a pretty cool name for it. That's when you destroy 4 different buildings in a single game. Gotta keep in mind that you have a 12-minute cooldown after every ram, so it will at least take you 48 minutes if you have like a perfect taking for it, like you build the relic and you go straight for it. It's pretty hard to get, rather something for long games, but it's a pretty fun lure though. Pretty fun achievement, and I think it's definitely worth an achievement if you did that. This isn't even my final form. Find all 6 ancestral equipments in a single game. It's pretty cool. And who needs houses? Win a game without reaching max population. What? What? This is completely impossible to get. This is not possible. Nah, okay. That's pretty interesting. Definitely also a nice achievement. I like the idea behind it, even though that I will obviously never get it. Like first house I get house, damn it, I didn't even build the first one. Let's jump into the balancing right here. During the Kraken event, your clan is feasting and is unlocked now at 200 fame instead of 500. I don't know if that will save the Kraken right here. It is definitely a strong thing when the Kraken event actually happens. Oftentimes I build this down to rush the 500 fame right there to just get somehow the effect working for me. You gotta keep in mind that in team games, your whole team will be feasting at this moment, so it's pretty interesting to get. It is pretty strong, but I don't know if it's exactly like, I think the biggest problem about the Kraken clan is that they don't really have recruitment right now, and you really feel that. But we're gonna see. I also didn't really adapt my playstyle with the Kraken all too much right now. It might even be possible to play a little bit better with them if you have like a big amount of Norns staying in your territory and try to have a happiness like the Stag clan basically has. But I heard from other players trying that out a little bit, and it doesn't seem to work out too well, even though you have a lot more word to work with, so you can send out way more ghost raids, or you can not high tide. Is it high tide? I think high tide more tiles to definitely do more damage on them. Can be pretty helpful, while it's still pretty hard to play without the recruitment. The Hull of the Sea Master also changed. The chance to become a Spectral Warrior is now 20% instead of 10, and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. We had some fights going on with Krakens that just ended up at a pretty high amount of Spectral Warriors. I don't know, I think when you have a pretty low unit, you have a chance when you hit it that it gets a Spectral Warrior. And Spectral Warriors are pretty key when you want to push an opponent in a team game, because yeah, just the happiness debuff you will get will make the opposing clan quite some problems. Maybe that will help out the Kraken clan enough to get a little bit more settled in the nowadays meta. But it could of course also just make the death ball that basically the Kraken clan tries to send to you right now, since it doesn't have recruitment. It usually is incentive to just get the biggest army it can possibly get and try to overrun you. Could make that a little bit too strong, I'm not too sure. It's basically just 10% to 10% were there before already, now it's 20. I don't know if it's changed it completely, or it will just get the Kraken clan a little bit back. We have no more cooldowns for the War Chief at the beginning of the game, except for Kaja. I don't know why exactly that happened now, but it happened. So there might be something that were going on right there that you couldn't do anymore because of that. But yeah, it's gotten back. No, only Kaja with the small cooldown at the start of the game. You can basically not insta get her. But I usually didn't have too much problems to get Kaja at the moment where I usually want her. The new Chief Master achievement can now be achieved. Nice! Were unachievable before because it just couldn't get that many sheepfolds anymore than the achievement wanted to you, but now it can. That's pretty cool. The Stolen Lore can steal all allowed lores, not only from the clans you own. Oh yeah, that's something I never really stumbled over, but it's definitely a pretty important change. So yeah, you don't actually need to buy the clans that you want to steal the lore from with the Snake Clan. I think that's the right thing to do. You shouldn't be like locked there just because you didn't buy a clan, because maybe you just don't like to play Dragon. And why would you get the Dragon clan then? Like, if you never really had the incentive to play Dragon, why would you buy it just to get the Stolen Lore though, of course? I really like that change. The Swollen Relic now protects your clan from High Tide and Spectral Warrior Kraken abilities. Okay, that means you cannot get it. You cannot get attacked anymore? That's pretty nice. Okay. So the Spectral Warriors cannot come over and attack your tile anymore, if I understood that right. Like, would be pretty cool. Nice to know. The Swollen one doesn't get used that much. I'm just a little bit scared that if the Swollen Relic actually works really good, it will be pretty game breaking, because you cannot go into the opponent tile then anymore, and you can just basically lock down every win. But as it is like on the edge of working or not really working, you know, I think that's the perfect spot for those Relic, because you will have situations where it works really good, where you really have a hard time to actually kill the opponent with it. But usually, like when I saw it in 3-4-alls, you oftentimes just see players teaming up on the player and trying to get him down. I don't know how much sense it actually makes in a team game, because the teams could just attack another player, even though you could relocate the Relic. I don't really think it will help you out there all too much, but you can save a player that might be at a very, very fragile position, and yeah, just set the Relic there to not get attacked too much on this front. But I still not think one of the most strongest Relics there around. Let's jump into the bug fixes here, the last point here of the patch notes. Swan's request for help during chapter 6 of the story mode no work as intended. That's cool. You can now build only one altar of kings at a time as intended. Very nice, very nice. I guess a lot of people have been waiting for that. Text chat does no longer disappear when writing a message with when typing a message with numpad. Okay, didn't realize that were happening, but it's cool. Fix display of resources obtained from imports. Okay, didn't really know there was something going on, but nice to know. It is not longer possible to use an infinite amount of workers on Herger. That would have definitely saved the Kraken clan there, I can say. No recruitment, just get infinite amount of workers on the Herger. Okay, I didn't actually know about it, but nice to know. Next one is clicking on the Kraken's spectral attack notification now directs you to the camera. Now directs the camera to the attack tile. That is pretty cool. I like this change. Can be a little bit problematic when you get attacked and you don't know where it happens. Now you can just press the space bar and you will be right there. I like it. Like clicking on the special attack is basically the same thing as you would be pressing space bar just when it happens. Just to keep that in mind, it's pretty helpful. All giants have an AoE attack that deal damage to every non-allied units. Yeah, all giants now have that, like I said before, on the War Chief, the Stomp ability basically that will do an AoE to every unit around them. And Near the Sea Spirit now correctly allows trading route when stolen by Snake. Yeah, that were also just a bug, I guess, never really tried that out, but nice that it got fixed here. And in the chapter 9 of the campaign, Hrimgander isn't blocked anymore by watchtowers. Okay, also didn't know about it, but also pretty cool that it got fixed. In case you had problems with that, you won't have them anymore. Yeah, here we can get the Clan of the Ox, and I think that were it here with the patch notes. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you could took a little bit information out of here that you didn't knew before, and maybe you learned something about the Ox clan here and could take something out of my opinions about the things right here. I really like the Ox clan, the update in general. I think the double altar block is pretty important, and I don't know if you will still be able to steal altars. Would be nice to know if somebody has tried it before, like if you kill an opponent in a free-for-all and then go for his altar, if that is still possible. Would be pretty nice, because I always thought, okay, that's actually a pretty cool thing to do, but I wouldn't be too heartbroken if it also doesn't work anymore, if that means that also in team games people will not be able to build the double altars anymore. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this video though. Maybe leave a like if you did so. If you want to see more Northgard content, you might want to consider to subscribe to this channel, because I'm uploading a lot of Northgard content right here. Yeah, maybe see you back in the next one. Hope you have a great day, and bye bye everyone. See ya. Ciao ciao.